Welcome everybody. Tonight we are starting the City Community Development and Recreation Committee meeting for August 9th. Sorry I sent out the agenda minutes so late again. I really was on top of it the first couple months, and then I fell back. But yeah, pretty straightforward. Last month's meeting we just had the presentation, so not much on the minutes because it was just the presentation. So, and then the agenda for today, to have a chance to look at that. All right.
Yes.
That's pretty straightforward. We're just gonna talk about the recreation director, Tree City, then the Homeowner Assistance Fund. That's about it. All right. So we'll go ahead and kick it off then with the recreation director, Mr. Mosby, who wasn't able to make it tonight. He's on vacation. Sent me. He just kind of copy and pasted from the charter the description of the recreation director, just, you know, for reference, and then added a few extra things, kind of just more detailed, just kind of breaking down what specifically he's looking for to do. And I can go ahead and read that out. I forwarded it to you guys, but I'll go ahead and read it out. The specific line is only one line discussing the recreation director. It's the primary duties of the recreation director shall be to coordinate all recreation programs and activities of the city and to be ex officio, is that how you say it?
Ex officio. Yeah.
Thank you. Member of the Recreation Commission. And then for more specific points that he had, supervise the activities of the recreation personnel, prepare the minutes and agendas for the Recreation Commission meetings, coordinate all special events for the city, including but not limited to Memorial Day Parade, heading for the Hill Car Show, Halloween, and Breakfast with Santa, and manage the inventory of all recreation equipment belonging to the city. So I guess our next steps would be kind of you know, pushing this to the budget committee and coming up with a salary or a payment or a compensation that we think is fair for those duties. Because I don't really know what else we could do with that.
Help me understand what supervise the activities of the recreational personnel?
Yeah, so I guess if like anybody's volunteering, or I guess if he decides to hire anybody in the future, if we ever.
Who decides to hire? This person has no hiring abilities.
Right, if the city decides to hire, whoever at that time is in the position to hire decides to hire somebody else to work with recreation or. So that's what I'm assuming that it meant. I can ask Ron for a more specific.
I mean, if it's as you were saying, then it should say volunteer.
Right.
Not, because I don't know, that's misleading to me.
Right. May just be like in the case of having personnel, this person would be in charge of that said person, of that said personnel.
Are you talking about if the if the recreation director hires somebody, or are you talking about the recreation director himself or herself?
Well, that's kind of, it just says supervise the activities of the recreation personnel. How would you interpret that?
Okay, who are the recreation personnel?
That's what we're trying to figure
my
out.
question.
I
Oh,
think
okay.
personnel, in my opinion, would be anybody working, volunteer or
For pay.
with pay, any of those events or things that they're responding to help.
That's how I took it.
I don't think personnel that is exclusive to paid people only, but I'll look it up.
What's your reasoning for questioning? Are you just curious?
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
No, I can ask him. I'll ask him. I'll actually, write that down.
I mean, if it's volunteers, then,
I'm gonna give you guys kind of a long-winded thing at the risk of being accused of being somebody else. So at our last CIC meeting, one of the things that one of the people who was there said, and I can't really remember who it was, maybe I do, but I just don't want to say his name right now. One of the things he said is that we should try to figure out something that will bring people to our city that we can be known for. And the example that he gave was like how everybody like always goes to Pigeon Forge, and there's nothing really in Pigeon Forge, but everybody goes there for vacation. And I was like, yeah, okay. Or how there's, there are places that have like a Civil War reenactment every year, and it brings like tons of people to that place. Because there are people who are like nuts about that kind of thing. And then I have a local example, Crossroads Church, and it doesn't really impact me anymore because I don't have little kids anymore. But, say what you will about the church itself, but their children's church program is like organized and second to none. They have different rooms for different age children, and they have like 2 volunteers for every so many children. They do background checks. It's like very well staffed and very well run. Now, I no longer go there, but that was what took me there. It was like that specific thing. So I think that we should have a specific thing that will make people want to live in North College Hill and buy homes in North College Hill. And I think that one of the things that maybe we can consider, this is just an idea, I don't know how that looks, I'm just kind of throwing this out there. What if we figure out a way to have things for kids to do, like things for kids to do all around our community? Because, it's a walking community, it's, 1.8 square miles, so it's not so far that, people can't walk to wherever in the community to go to wherever the activity is for that particular age group. They can throw the kids in a wagon or whatever it is. But if we had something, just things for kids to do, and I know that there are grants and there are other programs that will pay for things. I don't know what kind of things because I don't have little kids anymore, but like, for example, the splash pad, there's that. And, we had parks, and just things for, I think that would be something that would make people want to come and live here. And so that's kind of, when I'm thinking about our comprehensive plan, I'm, trying to figure out ways to, because we want to change our community to have more invested people, then that's one way to do it, because people will go where, their children are going to be comfortable and safe and happy, because, that's what I did. That's why I ended up going to Crossroads. I mean, I no longer go there, but, that's why I went there years ago.
Are
Just
we,
an
are we
idea.
talking about, oh, go ahead.
Are you saying, so what I hear you saying, and you didn't actually say this, but I had a conversation with Marjorie, probably was it after council last week? And I agree. So some of my original thoughts, just on my own, not even hearing what you said, or who you were talking about, is what is going to be the draw. And it really started when we had the movie night over at the church. And so I started thinking about other communities like Wyoming and Hyde Park. They're legendary for certain things. Like Hyde Park is legendary for their Halloween stuff. Right. So people from outside of that area, or that Cincinnati suburb of that suburb of Cincinnati, they come from all over to enjoy the festivities of that community. We definitely need something like that. And so like, I like even what downtown Cincinnati did with like having a salsa night on I think it's Thursdays or whatever. We need to have a centralized place where we can have a community draw where people, and so why I bring up Wyoming is because they have that people walk to the event.
Fireworks.
And fireworks, they have their own fireworks. And I know there's a lot more money there, but this is the part you didn't say. This should be the burden of this job description.
Absolutely.
So, they need to, well, it needs to be someone, and it needs to be expressed in this job description, that the energy of what we're trying to do to move with the comprehensive plan forward, if we can tap into that, where people are coming from the outside to enjoy our community, half of our battle will be done, because we will create a new atmosphere in our city
Right.
that people will want to start to see it better. Was it Walnut Hills is now like college community. They have football in their big field. Like there's nothing in that field. In the summer, you go past there day, night. There's somebody out there literally with a microphone plugged into with a guitar singing, and then somebody else over here, they're playing football. And I know that's the temperament and, you know, community of college, but they created that because that wasn't there before.
Right.
So it was very intentional when they did the development of that area to leave that space empty for things like that. So we have some small spaces, like Marjorie made a couple suggestions of ones that we could utilize or try to utilize to start bringing things like that. Even I took my children, I was going up Winton Road, I was going to Kohl's. And they were like, Mom, can we do the car show? When we got out, they had funnel cakes, they had car show, they had a live band. They were dancing to country music. They got $1 cowboy hat, and they had a blast. And then I didn't even get to make it to Kohl's. So, but I'm just saying, like, this things like that. So, just driving through Hamilton Avenue, it was right there off of Winton Road. It pulled me in. And my kids, they made me stop. Like, they got little balloon things we paid $0.25 for, $1 cowboy hats, dancing, cars, popcorn. It's a fundraiser for the community. And it drew people in. So now people are looking for it. And so all those little shops there, I'm sorry, Mayor, I'm not looking at you, but they were open for business and raking in the dough. Like people were just driving past and shopping.
We're at again.
That's
please?
in Green Hills.
Oh yeah.
And it was just literally, I didn't know about it. I literally
Plaza.
just drove through, and that's what was available. So it needs to be somebody who has the energy. And so I'm saying, I think this is why you brought it up as we're discussing this, that's where we want to go, and we need to come up with ideas that they can help facilitate. So those are my thoughts.
Madam Chair, what I was gonna say, and then she just said it, for that position, we need someone with energy to go out and that's why it's important. I know I've said to you a couple times about we need to get the commission back together. And it starts with that person, because they're like the overseer of the Recreation Commission. I have gone to a lot of different things, you know, just outside of the community. One of the things I think is really big, they even had it at that church up here, all the way up, Benny Fluella.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. All the way up to
Yes, they did like a yard sale.
yes.
I think it was it a African American but it doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
but they had
Just that it was that, but that's something that they normally wouldn't do,
yes.
and they
Well, they
invited that in.
vendors and yes.
They had tons of vendors to come out and to do, so their things, and I think it was, you know, we could do something big like that. I know they just had the longest yard sale, but we just need the person with the energy, and we need to tell them, we want a concert in the park. I think the school district would probably even allow us to use like where they practice, where the girls softball was, behind the school on Bising, right behind the church. So it's behind the church and the school. So it doesn't necessarily have to be all of our property. The gentleman who owns Roses lets us use his parking lot. You know, that's what we did with the trunk or treat last year. Said, come in, he let us use his parking lot, so.
Absolutely. Those are all some of the things that I've generated ideas for. So like, I know, downtown, they don't pay for any of those musicians to come. They just, they want to come. So
Right.
the other
They
thing
want the
is
exposure.
consistency. So if we say every Friday, we're going to have this, and then this person solicits, like, just all of us giving names. I know a couple bands that they just want the exposure. They have their own following. So
And people come.
yes,
Just like at that.
so I know, like, you just what I could bring for this, just to say, like, if you knew someone and they have their own following, at least their following would show up and they're singing out there to their heart and done. Like, it's a night, and just seeing somebody whatever we choose to do on a
Off
Gosh, that's so funny.
once a month,
Oh,
because
yeah.
I'm very annoyed by it.
even Blue Ash, the park where the people jumped off the thing twice now. What is that?
Summit Park.
Yes. So sorry, I didn't know the name of
Cincinnati
it.
No,
has
you're
a
fine, you're fine.
slide,
And-
that water park.
After you're done talking, I'm gonna stop you real quick, but I want you to
What's that
finish your
slide called?
ideas.
Where they put it
Snail
out on the
Park.
street, that water slide.
Oh,
And
yeah.
They just started that 2 years ago,
I love
maybe three.
slides.
They get a huge turnout.
You have to
And-
sign
and
up
the-
for that
and
in
then the thing-
advance.
I love those
Yeah,
slides.
it is, and the thing with the big wheel,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, because my son,
thing I was
danger
gonna-
wheel.
I was gonna say, and I don't know how you feel about it. It could just, because I know I'm gonna not say that, I know we don't have it, but we need to consider, should we have it? Just like with economic development. Do we need a part-time or do we need a full-time recreation
So-
director? If,
So yeah, that's the thing, is kind of with all of this, I'm gonna kind of try to bring it into something that we can like do about it as council. I mean, the only thing we can really do is in budget, that's because this is where the conversation kind of moves to budget of, I mean, we can kind of talk here, would we like a full-time, would we like a part-time? But then it's gonna move to budget and talk about, how much money do we have for it, what can we make as the pay? But what we can do in this committee is, once that is decided, I kind of just took what you guys were just all saying and just kind of motion for the administration to start looking for it. So I just wrote up like a little motion based on what you guys were all just saying. This is just a quote of what I would say. Motion for administration to begin the search for recreation director. The council advises to hire an energetic, passionate person who will work closely with the comprehensive plan efforts, as well as the members of the community, to plan new events and activities, as well as continue the traditions of the community. Because, I mean, all we can really do is advise. It's up to Mr. Mosby to hire somebody with all of these, passions and ideas.
Can you put something about a visionary and creative, out-of-the-box thinker?
Okay. The council
Something
advises
like that.
an energetic, passionate, out of the box thinker.
So what I think should happen in terms of part-time or full-time, is I think we should start out with part-time.
I agree.
And then kind of contractually build this into, when you get this many events up and running with this level of success, we can extend your contract or
we can
to
revisit
full-time.
the idea.
Yes, so then that looks like leveraging, even if it's two volunteers, can you call what that person then was responsible for doing is stewardship of, hey, I need you to call this, that, and the other. These are my ideas. and outsourcing, like I said, even into 1 or 2 volunteers
Right.
to the
Well,
work
and
that
have
they
the
don't have time to
commission at
do.
that
That
point,
would be
too.
from the commission.
Yeah.
Because what I don't want to happen is, we want this to happen and we don't want to overwork, or
Right.
we want somebody to do it and to be like honest in their doings and not just, oh, I'm collecting a check and I'm gonna do 1 or 2.
Absolutely.
Well, and it's also one of those things too. I mean, if you have a good recreation director, then they're going to build up programs that'll make the city money, and therefore the city will have more money, so then we can pay them more. So
Absolutely.
it's
So
one of
that's
those
what I'm
things
thinking.
where
So
we
you have
can
to,
kind of like present it to to the budget committee next month, because we don't have it today. Like, hey, we could. This is our idea as the city community development recreation committee, but now we need to kind of put that into the budget. But I mean, I totally agree. I think that this is good, and I think now we can kind of start working on the commission. With that being said, I'm just gonna read the part about the commission from the charter real quick. The Recreation Commission shall consist of 6 members, 3 of whom shall be appointed by the mayor and shall serve at the pleasure of the mayor, and 2 of whom shall be appointed by the superintendent of North College Hill City School District, so that is Eugene Blaylock, with the approval of the school board, and shall serve at the pleasure of the superintendent. So, just from that sentence, that's on you, Mayor Nichols.
I already have 2 of the people who
Perfect.
said they would.
I'll
I think
go-
I have a 3rd.
Perfect.
I wanted to get some men, that's the whole thing.
I think we should even have maybe 2 students from the high school.
Yeah,
Or can we find a person who is a college student who wants to go into that kind of field? I don't know what kind of field that would be.
so they have to all
Sports
be
and
residents.
recreation.
Oh, they have to be residents?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
They do. They have to be, it says by
Yeah.
the electors of the
These
city.
5
Mhm.
members shall be resident
Residents,
electors. Thank
resident
you.
electors. Mhm.
Well, there are college students in our community, though. We just have to
Yeah, one of them is
get
on.
them
Yeah, my daughter's one of
energized.
them. Her daughters are.
Yeah, I was one of them.
The college student could even be the rec director.
Oh,
So like another thing, even like this community Lincoln Heights, people come everywhere to go to their parade because they have a go-kart show.
Oh,
They
yeah.
invite bands
Yeah,
from the local colleges.
right, the
Bands
marching
are
bands.
always
They're always looking for opportunities
opportunities
to march.
to,
yeah.
and they're the battle of the bands. They're always looking for opportunities to battle each other. They love it. So all of that is like,
I do too.
I love it
just-
too. I'm like, hey.
I really just think that, just we can, I know I keep saying this, but we could use this parking lot right here and
Oh, yeah.
block it off and, do, like, find a DJ or
we're
somebody.
in the back, or
And just do like a line dance or salsa or whatever kind of dancing. And that will bring people, because we want people to come out of their homes and, and people are driving by, they're gonna be like, hey, what's going on over there? So they'll park and maybe walk
I
back.
wanna do like, I wish you had that park where you can bring your lawn chair and do the band, like, what they call it down, I don't know what they call it on Fridays. I've been down in Washington.
Party in the park.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Can't we use the parking lot out here though for that? Like,
I don't have a problem. with
yeah, we
parking
just
lot.
make the stage up here and then we give people maybe limited access to the bathrooms.
so I
and-
love all of these ideas, but now we just have to remember them for when we get the rec director and the commission together, as there's not much we can do other than motion for administration to put this together. I know, it's frustrating.
So, yeah.
But I don't agree with that, because we didn't have a recreation when we did trunk or treat. I was just calling around and had.
No, exactly, but like we as council, I mean, so not like we as a city. I
Why
mean,
not? Why can't we do something? Why can't we
But
plan
as an
something?
individual on council, I mean, you could,
Like, can I just plan something
Go
and
for
get
it.
permission from whomever and,
Yeah.
okay. I mean, I don't want to be the rec director, but I mean,
No, I don't. I'm
wanna
not
do
saying you
some
can't.
stuff.
I'm saying
Yeah,
as our official duty as
Yeah.
council that isn't totally our role. But I'm not stopping anybody from doing anything like that. I love it. Go for it.
Because didn't we talk about getting a newsletter for this North College Hill?
It's, yeah, I had.
Well, it's the mayor's letter, right?
No, that's
wanted
just
it to
on
be-
it.
I wanted it to be like a community newsletter, not necessarily a mayor's newsletter.
Community news.
So I had asked a couple people, if they wanted.
I thought Ari was helping with that, right? Or no? Okay. And so like, you know, just putting a calendar of
Right.
events once a month on there.
Well, what's in there now is like upcoming events, so you have something up to the end of the year with just little small things like the cleanup days and
Right.
if we'll do the trunk or treat, just potential days, stuff like that.
Because I think that like when I with Summit Park, the thing that I wasn't necessarily just trying to only bring the ideas of what they've done, but looking at it from a macro standpoint, like
Right.
what did they do to start bringing people out? So macroly, one of the things that they did was they created an online like newsletter of what's going on, and it doesn't matter if 2 people show up or 5 people show up, they're consistent. And so then they just kept rolling with it until they got groups and groups. And now, like, they have that yoga thing in the yard and all of that. Like, there's exercises
Previously,
literally.
they used to have, was it Zumba?
Yeah, they do Zumba also.
They do Zumba
So
here.
I think, like, people are always looking for opportunities like that
Oh,
at
absolutely.
no cost. And they're trying to get their notoriety out there. I know, so I'm saying that to say, I know that we as council cannot like individually make all of this happen, but those are the concepts that this person needs to kind of
Oh, right.
lay hold to
Oh, I totally agree. Yeah.
and be consistent. And we can't get discouraged about the numbers right away. We're at the end of the summer. We've just got to figure it out.
Right.
So like even Mount Healthy, they have the little, the Christmas thing where they got the live animals out there every year. My kids are
That's
like,
that's right, but that's a private like that's the funeral home that puts that on.
So
So
my-
the other thing is the recreation director, in hand in hand with the city administrator, needs to reach out to the companies and to the businesses around North College Hill. I totally agree. But
And I think that if we start bringing a lot of people into North College Hill, then it'll cause people to want to open their businesses along that
that's
corridor.
what I was gonna say, because
Right.
on those nights, those
You know, because
businesses
they will
stay
make
open
tons
longer.
of money, and then I think that they will help us to
Right.
fund those kinds of programs, because, it helps them. So,
I just found out that there is, I met a lady, there's money out there to fix up storefronts. So, I'll have a call in to her to see exactly what we need to do through the city. But, because I think that's what, the presentation and the look helps as well.
Don't we have that field over on Simpson also? Isn't that ours?
It belongs to
No,
the
it's a
school.
special
I
school.
asked somebody about that about 3 weeks ago. It still belongs to the school.
That's the school district,
Mhm.
yeah.
I did ask someone.
But we could use it, right? I mean, if we got permission and talked to
I'm
them.
sure he wouldn't mind, yeah.
yeah,
Just-
there are some weird sports that people play, and they will travel to play them.
What's
like-
that? Rugby?
Like the thing where they throw the frisbees through the hoops.
Ultimate Frisbee.
and,
Frisbee golf.
Yeah, frisbee golf and some other weird, I mean, I'm calling it weird, but young people I'm driving through some places and I'm like, what are they doing? And they're just
Yeah,
playing.
let's look at
these-
Heritage Park in Coleraine.
Yeah.
So for next week then, or next month, I mean, I'll go ahead and ask Superintendent Eugene Blaylock to start looking at his 2 people that he wants to suggest. I can ask him if he has any middle schoolers or high schoolers or recent graduates who he could specifically look at, any younger people. That would be great. And if he can't think of anybody, then I'll ask him to try harder. So, and then Mayor Nichols, if you can possibly have some of your 3 ready by next month or so, then we can kind of start pushing the recreation director budget to the budget committee, and then we can start moving on to the Recreation Commission. So hopefully they can kind of be ready at the same time, and then, look at that. Does that sound good to everybody?
Simultaneous movement, that's big.
And I could-
Man, I don't think it's gonna work out like that, but we got wishful thinking in this committee.
I mean, I just feel the positive energy.
I do
and
too.
I just like that. I just,
I'm loving all the ideas.
She threw me off when she said she doesn't think it's gonna work out like that.
No, wishful thinking, I got this. I believe in it. All right, anybody else? I got the motion ready. We got a few meetings until we say it, so I'll keep it here. And if anybody at any point wants to add anything to the motion before we present it at council, let me know. All right. Well, then let's move on to the next. All right, so the next point's going to be a little short because all it is just me kind of telling you guys stuff. So we got all the members that we need for the NCH Tree City USA board, which is very exciting. And I have an arborist who is considering it. They are a retired arborist, and they, you know, are living their retired life. I sent out the email a month or two ago and reminded them today if they wouldn't mind looking at it. And so they said that they're going to go ahead and look at it tonight and get back to me soon. So I'm excited. I'm hopeful. I think it'll work out, and seems like a really good fit. The rest of the members all seem very excited as well. A lot of them are really prominent members of the community who are actively involved and really interested in plantation and trees and gardening. So I'm really excited. Sorry, I'm just kind of talking at you guys about that one, but I'm really excited. We're moving forward on that. So hopefully by next committee meeting, we can kind of get that finalized. Does anybody know what that would look like? Like, how do we kind of like finalize this board? Do we have to like write anything official, or do we just kind of say, there's the board?
I think we have to do
Which board?
maybe a
The
resolution.
NCH Tree City
A
USA
Tree
board.
City USA board. Do we have to do like a resolution or something like that?
I thought there already had been one.
There is for us to be able to form one. So we have the ordinance to be able to form it,
Do we need to do one, a resolution to say,
like
here are the,
board.
here are the members of the board?
Right.
We're all looking at you, Mary Jo.
I'm trying to, oh, you said Mary Jo, you weren't on it, was you, were you?
Historically, I don't remember ever doing anything like that, but
I'm trying to remember in my head the, legislation or the paperwork that I sent you.
Do you want me to pull it up? I have it.
Yeah, it seems like something was in there, of how the committee was formed, or should be, or if it just told what you needed to do. I don't know if it said that we had to do a resolution or anything to say that it was. I know I had to send a letter to say that we were interested. I typed that up, signed it, sent it back, and then it's taking this
So
long to get
nothing
our-
on here talks about like how to actually form the committee. So it says the city council hereby creates the tree advisory board, hereafter referred to as the board. And then it talks about membership, compensation, the work without compensation, term of office, board members shall be appointed for 3-year terms. If a vacancy shall occur during the term of a member, the successor shall be appointed by city council. Officers, the board shall annually select meetings,
what you're
blah, blah,
saying.
blah, duties. Yeah, so, sorry, I was just kind of thinking out loud. None of this has to do with like how do we officially set the board. But I feel like it wouldn't.
that just sounds like a legal issue. It'd be.
We can always ask Mr. Dieters.
I've had a hard time getting in contact with Mr. Dieters recently, but I will try again. So let me put that on my to-do list. All right. Anything else about the Tree City USA stuff, or? once, going twice while I'm pulling up
We
my
have-
agenda again.
Like the list of names somewhere? And would that,
Yes.
because I would speculate that if we do have to have
Do you want me to tell you who's
something
on it?
formal, all the names should be listed on it.
Do you want me to tell you who's on it?
No?
I mean, it's like, well, you guys were in the email that I sent to them.
Right.
Yeah. Like, I have them written down in my notes.
I'm just saying, if Bill wants to put legislation together, I would include the names.
Okay.
So that it's all together.
That makes sense. I get what you're saying now. Well, we'll do that. All right. Moving on to the Homeowners Assistance Fund. We've been talking about this for a while. I'll remind everybody kind of what we've talked about so far. So we talked about who qualifies. We kind of came to a sort of consensus on we want to do 3 first-time home buyers that are first-time home buyers, period. 2 first-time home buyers specifically in NCH, so maybe they've owned houses before, but this is their first time buying an NCH. And then 2 people who already live here for retention purposes. We've talked about, we have not figured out how much they get. That's something that we really haven't talked about. We haven't really talked about how it's determined, how much people will get, or how it is determined if they qualify for the money or not, other than the buying a home or already living here. We talked about having the CRA as possibly the kind of deciding board, but I have not been able to get back with Mr. Dieters about if it's legal or not, so I'll try again this week. And then we talked about after receiving the grant, the homeowners must live in NCH for at least 5 years after receiving the grant, and if they decide to move, they must pay back the money, and we talked about doing that with a lien on their title.
Can I hold you there for a
Yeah.
second? So I know you just said you're going to talk to Bill. So I wonder if, I'm going to use you as an example. Man, tongue-tied.
You're good.
So let's say we grant you, I'm going to make up a number, $2,500
Okay.
to fix your front porch, right? Now, can we put some type of lien on your property that expires in, like, can we put that on right away?
Oh, good point. Can
And
the
then
lien
it just
expire
expires
in 5 years?
in 5 years?
I don't think so.
It doesn't work that way.
It doesn't?
So we'd have to go in
Okay.
and take the lien off,
Yes.
basically.
Yeah.
Okay. Which I mean,
So
just
somebody
one
could
percent.
potentially skedoodle without us catching them then? Like, how would we catch them?
You put the lien on their property title, and when they go to sell, it's in the due diligence of a real estate agent. They have to check, that's the title company,
So the lien can just sit out there?
They have to pay the lien before they can do anything.
Okay.
before they can buy or sell their home, they have to satisfy the lien or the lien has to be removed. What I don't know is how easy it is to remove it once you've added it. But we should have some parameters, which is why Dieters would come in handy for like, so many people do this, right?
Right.
Even,
We're not the first
No,
place or the first
absolutely not.
organization.
So it's a lien when we do the property.
Right.
The
We
property
could,
assessment.
yeah, I like that.
So whenever we cut somebody's grass, we put it on their property. That's why the address on there.
Right, but they have to pay that right away, and that's what I'm saying. So if
They
we
don't
put,
pay it right away.
well, at their next property bill.
And then if they don't,
But, so I guess there's
But there
different
are-
types of liens,
I don't
Is that-
know, it's just different, you have to, I don't know if it's different types of liens or different parameters in which you can put around the lien, because I do know that there are a lot of first-time home buyer, grants and monies out there, and then they have to be in the home at least a certain amount of time, or else they have to pay it back, so we're not the first to offer this kind of thing. So I know that it's very possible, but what we will have to do to quantify that, to attach it to the title, is what we have to find out.
Legal matter.
Right.
But I do know that it's not possible for them to sell their home without collecting if they have not met the terms of the agreement they made. Or else they would just have to pay the money back.
Right.
Another thing that we can consider doing, because, you know, I'm all about trying to get people to come to North College Hill now. There's a class that they have in Clifton for people who are interested in buying a home, and that the class is free. And what they do is they tell you, they look at your information, and they put on this class like once a month, and it's so many hours long, and they tell you what you need to do. They help you clean up your credit, everything. So if,
Habitat for Humana has one too.
so if they have that program there, maybe we could offer them some kind of facilities here to do something similar, because that would be a draw. People would definitely come to
Right.
go to a class like that.
Right.
Are you willing to use your council chambers? Because I think somewhere it says you can only use it for certain things.
It's in the charter.
Yeah, in your chart, yeah. I guess we can go back there.
I guess,
In your fancy break room.
well,
Break room.
it just depends on how big it grows.
Right. I mean, could we ask
I mean,
Mr. Blaylock if we could use some of the school property?
or what we can do is just get temporary tables to put out there. You know, just some kind of folding tables.
Here.
Right.
It's nice to have that relationship with the school, but we don't wanna, I just don't think we wanna just do everything.
At the school, right.
I
I
know
just,
we don't have the space, but let's just go to the school. If we can
right. Well,
make people know that we want them to come here and we
No, I agree. Yeah.
change it up so we can
Yeah.
accommodate.
yeah, we just get some, I don't want people sitting in my chair, because I don't want any people sitting in my chair, but
Somebody already
we
sat
can
in my
get
chair.
some, yeah, we can get some folding tables and, you know, kind of reorganize that space right there, maybe.
Yeah, I'm sure we already have something like that. I'm sure we already have tables somewhere around here.
Is this literally our only space to use?
Yeah.
Wow. We don't have any at the fire, well, no, because they go outside in the back to have their
I
meetings.
think
Right.
it would, if you have not, I think,
Use the courtroom.
That's what I was thinking. They only use it one day a week.
Oh, that's a good
It's
point.
pretty decent in there, it's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, why don't we try to use that if we do something like this?
Yeah, we could do that.
like
I
that.
mean,
So I was gonna say it would be nice, not nice, but I think that you should at some point schedule yourself to go look back there
Okay.
to see what, I mean.
Schedule ourselves to
Excuse
go
me, Mayor,
look like, right.
When you
where?
say back there,
There are rooms back there.
Oh, back in this building, you mean?
Yeah.
Behind us, yeah.
Like
Wait.
in this building that we're in,
do you
there,
have to
like
drive?
this was a school,
Do you have
so
to
there were
drive
lots of-
around
Yeah, I
to
know
get
that
in the
this was a
back?
school.
This was a classroom,
Yeah,
Okay,
that was my kindergarten room.
yep. That was a kindergarten class where the Historical Society was a kindergarten class. This was, they put that wall there, that went straight back.
okay, so there was a wall added here?
They added that wall right here, this wall that goes all the way back. And even on the other side of the room, this was a whole walkway straight back.
So
They took out some of
how
it.
do we get to the rooms back there?
Yeah.
Now you have to go through, the DAV
Mm-hmm.
or,
Outside.
I'm trying to see if I can.
There's
get
another
through
set of
that back
stairs
door.
right there.
It's
Do
another
do you
back
have,
door.
do you have a key?
I'm trying to see if my key, I should have a key to get.
Yeah, do our keys work back there?
Probably not.
Your key should work on this back door right there, but I don't know if it works on the one back there.
Gotcha. But either way, courtroom for future events would be a great place to start looking at. That's a good separate note. Yeah, I like that idea though, and we can offer it to people. I mean, we offer it to everybody, but specifically people applying for this grant. I mean, I think that'd be a great thing to offer.
we could offer it, period.
Exactly,
That's a good tool
exactly,
for
yeah.
the community to have.
Right, and that's,
And then
that's a
that will
draw.
We can
Yeah.
offer it to everybody and then
Stipulation.
recommend it specifically for.
Yeah,
You know
it's
what I
a
mean?
Stipulation of it.
Right.
Oh, it's a stipulation.
I think so. Or is that too harsh?
Well, I think that not everybody will need to do that, but
That's good.
I
Yeah,
think
that's
that
true.
it'll, but if.
Well, and
if,
that would be,
But there are people, obviously, who are renters, who want to own a home, but they just don't even know where to
Where
start,
to begin.
right?
So it could
And-
be a stipulation for the people that are gonna be the new homeowners, but not for the existing homeowners. It can be offered for the existing, but it's not.
But if they already have a good credit score, then they don't
Right,
need to
they
go
wouldn't
through
need,
it.
yeah, because if they're getting approved for this grant, then they already have a good enough credit score to own a house, because we're not giving them this grant until they already get approved for buying it. So this would be like way before somebody even applies for this grant, is
Right.
when they would take a class like this. So I don't feel like it would make sense to, like, make people, or to have this
To
as a
have it as a
stipulation,
stipulation, right.
because they wouldn't be taking this class if they already got approved for the grant.
and I'm just trying to piggyback to try to figure out ways to get people to come to North College Hill.
And
That's
I
all
will
I'm
say
trying to
this,
do.
I went to, what was it? Can't remember what community, I think it's Fairfield. Fairfield has programs and they have monies that they receive because when you start to do,
Right.
programs like this,
Mm-hmm.
then that opens the door for you to receive money.
Right.
I gotta believe that there's some
Grants
block
to it.
grant money
Grants to
available from the
attract
federal
first-
government.
First-time
Absolutely.
homeowners.
First-time home buyers.
Makes sense.
Like people who are receiving government assistance,
Right.
what else? Minorities. So
So
yeah.
that kind of brings into another thing. So far we have who qualifies. We have the 3 first-time home buyers, 2 first-time buying an NCH, and 2 people who already live here. And then for another part of who qualifies, it's that they already have gotten approved for purchase by banks / the purchase has already gone through. They can apply after the fact for stuff for paying like mortgages and blah blah blah, or they already live here, mortgage or no mortgage, and they're looking to do improvements on their home. They can then come. So do we want them to, so if it is those people, the people who already live here who are wishing to do improvements, are we asking them to present their idea for the improvement? Or are we just saying, they're just saying, I want to do an improvement, and then we give them the money? What if they never do that
I was
improvement?
gonna say, how do you hold them accountable to it?
Right. So let's say they come to us, say, hey, I want to fix my driveway. We give them $2,500. They never fix their driveway.
Can't we pay the company directly?
Oh.
Yes.
So they come to us with a company.
Right.
They've already decided to do it. We give the company.
After the work is done.
So then
Or
that brings
even
in the
we can
thing of,
even do the,
what if they don't live here for the 5 years after? So we paid the company,
Then you put the lien.
You put the lien on the
and
property.
we can still put the lien, so then the homeowner has to then pay us back even though we originally paid the company?
Yes.
Okay,
Legal
cool. Just
stuff.
making sure we can do that.
We could even do that with a certified check, right? Like, we could give the homeowner a certified check to
and then like a
Bill's
lot of
Blacktoppers.
construction
Right.
places, like even my deck, it was an insurance thing, so they're used to that kind of stuff anyways.
Right.
My insurance people, I paid the deductible, that was my down payment, and then they rebuild the deck, and they get the rest of their money from the insurance, so that's that's the part of that whole construction world money situation.
Oh, and really, a contractor, they know they're gonna get their money.
Right.
It's
They
a
re-
bet,
yeah, they
it's a
want those
better
kind of
guarantee
jobs.
for them.
Right.
You can even say have it done by a particular time, or then you're gonna pop that lien, cause you can,
Right.
you had that check for 4 months.
Mm.
You should have found someone at least, depending on when it happens, when you move in. But, most time people aren't getting their driveways done. I'm using that scenario because we brought it up.
Right.
In the winter. So you have 3 months to complete. If not, then a lien may be placed, you put that may be on your property.
Oh, I say a lien will be placed on your
It will-
house, yeah.
will be, whatever you wanna say.
Madam Chair, I have a question.
Go for it.
As far as giving out loans to current homeowners, what is the benefit in the program? I know we want new new homeowners, but what is the benefit for us when we, let's say we give them $25 to $100
Right.
to do the repair?
So really, I just want to, just so if anybody's watching, which I hope people are, this isn't a loan where it's like a grant, so nobody's paying us back unless they
Yeah,
have to,
yeah.
unless they don't fall through. But either way, well, because a few meetings ago and then last meeting, we had talked more about it, how we want this to also be retention, so we don't want anybody to just think, oh, we just want new people in North College Hill, we don't care about our citizens. We want people to stay, and we want people to be able to enjoy their homes. So if we can help them enjoy their home even more by helping them improve their homes, and then therefore helping them live there longer, or even, they're going to improve their home now, and then in 10, 15 years when they do go to sell, it's going to be more appealing to buy to those new homeowners.
Okay.
So that's my thought process, and that's what I understood were other people's thought processes on the committee. But if I spoke wrongly for anybody, please.
No problem. I had just forgot about that incentive. I was trying to
No, you're fine.
remember
No problem.
what was the,
Yeah.
because I knew there were two different categories. I was
Right.
here at that meeting, so.
No, you're good. Yeah.
Okay, great, thank you.
I think I have one concern, and I'm not sure if it's this meeting or how to combat it. Or the issue, there's a particular company that, my neighbor across the street,
Mm-hmm.
she was renting. And we were out one day talking, just here like a month ago. And she said, well, my house got sold. And I said, huh? I said, it never went up for sale. Never. She said, this particular company contacted the owner to purchase the house and he sold it. So it was one of the companies. So I guess for me, in my head, I'm thinking, well, gosh darn, they're not even putting the property up for sale. They're just contacting.
Yeah.
Oh, contacting
Oh,
homeowners.
I saw that
get 'em
on,
all
I
the
saw that
time.
on
I get them all the
YouTube.
time.
Yeah, where they can just buy it,
They
no
were-
sign.
They were, well, I guess, I've gotten those cards too, but I'm like, this is a rental company that has multiple rentals in our, and so I said, do you know if, he said, he said he wasn't looking to sell.
Right. So part of this, I don't think that I said it out loud at this meeting,
Thousands of
is that
properties.
the homeowner has to be the one living in the house for the 5 years after getting the grant.
Well, no, I'm just saying, we're gonna run into that rental thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there are two companies in particular that own a lot of property
I
in
saw it
North
on
College Hill,
YouTube.
and it's just because of, they just grabbed an opportunity to get the homes at, a lower price. So what we may want to do is try to find, and that's something the CIC, I think, has been talking about, find, opportunities like that and have the CIC step in with the homeowner and say, okay, if you want to sell, let the CIC purchase the home and then sell it to the renter. That way, we help the renter through, go through whatever they need to go through
Right.
to get a mortgage and own the home.
Right, because there's not really anything that we can do to stop these
No.
companies from
Yeah,
doing,
but
you
now
know.
she's,
They own
because she wanted to
thousands of
purchase, so now
properties.
she's looking to move. Because, that rental thing with this particular company, they don't fix stuff. I've had three
No.
conversations about that rental company in
Right.
the past 2 weeks.
Right.
Start with a V?
I'm sorry?
Does it start with a V?
Interesting.
I want to throw rocks at their van.
This is being recorded.
Unofficially off the record, me too.
Some of them own thousands of homes. I mean,
Yeah.
It's not
different
just in,
states.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
gonna say, it's actually
huge. It's
across
huge.
the United States.
Right,
They own
this isn't just a
houses.
North College Hill
Right,
problem.
it's not.
Though it does
There are
really-
It's a
problem.
problem for us.
Right, I mean,
There
it is a
is.
problem.
All over America. I
It's
saw
kind of
some
like an
literally all
infestation,
over
and
the
you
Right.
don't know how to get rid of it.
Even in California.
And the problem is,
They're just going behind,
people
like,
Oh,
a little.
people that
thing
want to
was,
be
Right.
first-time
Right.
home buyers,
"Hey,
they
sell this,"
outbid them.
Even when he wasn't interested in selling.
Mhm.
And so she said to me, they don't fix anything, so she said she has to go, and I just was like, oh my gosh.
So
Or
that
they do
kind of,
really shabby jobs of fixing things.
right.
Another thing I wanted to say is with these huge companies, I just told Arias, when you have a first-time home buyer that wants to, a lot of these people have been outbidded by $20,000-$30,000. And, you know, so a couple or whoever they are, they don't have an extra $30,000 to bid on a house. It's all across America. It really is.
So that kind of brings to a whole nother point of view. So how is it determined of who gets the money? So obviously they're buying a house in North College Hill. That's kind of an obvious. That's how, you know, you can get the money. You live in North College Hill for 5 years after receiving the grant. But another part, now I don't know how we could do this, or maybe we could just suggest it to whoever the board is who's determining this. But maybe we can say, hey, we suggest that you pick people who are buying houses who were previously renting houses in North College Hill. So, you know, it doesn't have to be only people who were previously renting who are now buying, but we can say if there are people who are applying for the grant who fit under this category, we suggest that they go to kind of the top of the list. Is that something that we can do?
I don't
What
think
if the
so.
other person needs it more?
I don't,
Right,
yeah,
so
I
that's the
don't
thing.
think
It
so. I
just could be
don't-
a suggestion of like, hey, this should be something that you're considering. We
So
suggest
if you
that-
you could do it on a scoring basis, and you get 2 points for this and 1 point for this, and that, and make it, I almost feel like it has to be a blind, like I don't know how you do that, withdraw the names.
Right, like yeah.
Oh, yeah. Like, so
Because,
for
because it is a small community, and people know people, and
Right.
it's, depending on who's on that selection committee, it's either yes or no, because I don't like.
Right,
You
so
guys-
rather
I don't like
than blind
Billy.
selection.
If you
Right.
guys are on the committee, all the applications, I'm just example, would come to me, I would white out, darken out, I would keep the originals, make copies, white out, darken out all of the names.
Mm-hmm,
And so then you could
Right.
look at it and,
mm-hmm.
because I'm assuming you would have to, you don't wanna give money to somebody who can't afford to pay their mortgage. Maybe got laid off 2 weeks or 2 months before.
Right.
So
So
you have to have those guidelines there, but
right.
then pass that, I would pass out everybody the application and you review it this way. Which is what we do sometimes for some of the scholarships at the school.
Right.
We take their name off, so you can't associate what they write with the individual.
So, but there are definitely gonna have to be like must-haves, like the people who are applying must have already gotten approved for the purchase of the home, or like
Yep.
must have already found a company to do the improvements kind of thing, or like must already have an idea or a plan for the improvement on their home. And then the kind of like, I like the point system idea that you gave Mary Jo of like, and then for kind of like who out of that already must have category. Okay, so 50 people apply, 20 people fit those must-haves. Now, who of those 20 people are going to get it? Then that part can be determined by the kind of point system of like, okay, were they a renter previously? Okay, 2 points. Are they below poverty line? 2 points. Are they
As long as you
Blah,
do
blah, blah.
something to create equilibrium with those that are misfortunate in the point system, I think we would have a fair pointing system. So if you're gonna give somebody, I like the point system, my only caveat to that would be, then it becomes about fair and not economic empowerment. And we want this to be economic empowerment for those that fit that profile also. So in our point system, we need to build that in there.
No, I totally agree.
So I definitely think that that's just have that line item in there.
Right. So what do you guys suggest could be, so the must-have, sorry, I'm typing this as I'm talking. So must-haves are already approved for house/mortgage already have plans and company for improvements. So then what would the,
I'm sorry.
Does the company have to be with the BBB?
what is that?
Better Business
Better
Bureau.
Business Bureau.
Sure. I don't know.
I don't think so. I think if they feel like it's a good
You're
contractor,
gonna put a lien on them if, you know.
yeah.
Their uncle might do a better job than some of them companies, so.
Yeah, that's a good
And
point.
they might actually
Maybe they'll
take
use
the
somebody in North College too.
$2,500 and say, well, $2,500, I'll fix your front door, your back door, your side door, and we got a whole new house.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't think
Yeah.
it is.
So my question with that is, just so I can understand, you
Mhm.
have your $2,500 for new home to go towards, if you wanna put it towards your mortgage, or is it just for, what if I don't have any repairs, but I do wanna do my driveway? How long what's the new owner? Is it a year? Is it 6 months?
So these are people, it's not new owners, it's anybody. So my parents who've lived here for 20 plus years, they can apply. You know, my neighbor who just moved in last year, they can apply.
So it's 2 different scholarships, or 2 different?
So it's
There's
3.
different types of people that it can apply to.
So
we got
first time
75
buyers
Okay, so we got
and first time in
$7,500.
NCH would be like in the last year, I would say.
Are we doing $7,500 or one?
We haven't
We haven't come up with
decided
something
money
else. Okay.
specifics yet. We're throwing out the 2,500 because I think it's a number that everybody can kind of imagine and picture in their head.
2,500 for the new homeowner, 25 for your driveway, and 25 for whatever else.
Right.
The 2,500, that would be assistance for a driveway, because almost practically a new driveway is $10,000 and up. I
Right.
had a repaired one, but hey, $2,500, nothing to sneeze at.
Exactly, and then there are
And
other,
it helps.
Maybe
It
we
there are
do
helps.
other
have
things
money.
like
It's assistance.
just putting a new door on a house really changes the face of the home
Right.
and the face of the
I
neighborhood.
agree.
That's something you can do within $2,500.
Right.
Getting new gutters is
Right.
something you can do.
And that's
with
just an
$2,500.
X. That's just a numeral. I mean, we
No, I
don't
know. I'm
really-
just saying, no matter how small or large.
Right, exactly.
To her point, $2,500 is not going to get somebody a whole new driveway, but it possibly, whatever amount is chosen, can
Right.
put towards some. There are smaller things that can be done
totally
that
agree.
really make an impact, and there are larger things that you can put towards it that will
Right.
make an impact. That's why. Personally, I was on board for the retention portion of the people, because we
Oh,
do
yeah.
need some refacing. We really do.
Painting the inside or the outside or things like that.
Really quickly.
Since I got my house painted, it's 3 other homes on our street that got their house painted. And
It's
it,
like a ripple. I took
it
my
is.
shutters down, changed the color of my shutters and my door, and my neighbor across the street said, y'all motivated me.
it's almost like the grass cutting. You know, one person cuts the grass and then somebody else gets out there, I'm cut my grass.
Right.
In the 90s, I realized I lived in Skyline, but me and a few neighbors, we started planting flowers on the porch and in the yard. And then you looked around and 2 or 3 other neighbors, I always say flowers are contagious, or maybe we should say home improvement is contagious.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Isn't that nice?
So really quickly with the like
Painting
specific
is
numbers
awesome.
for the 3 first-time home buyers, first like new home buyers would be considered have bought their house within a year of applying for the grant. Does that sound okay to everybody, or is that too long of a time?
A new home buyer is within the first 5 years, I think, because even on your loan, you're not even paying into your principal until the first
Okay.
5 years.
So first
10
within
years.
the last 5 years. But here's where I kind of
Then we're into the retention.
right. Then we're into the retention, and where we're going with for the first-time home buyers is we're trying to get new people, not new people. We
Okay, well,
love our
maybe
citizens,
2.5,
but trying to
3
get
years.
more people.
So 36 months then.
What was that?
36 months is my next proposed time.
Is everybody like 36 months?
You think that's too soon? I mean, too long?
I just want us to make a decision and like do
Yes,
something.
I agree. I say 1 year or 36 months. Anybody?
She said she
Or-
thought it was too long.
I do.
Okay. I think
Well, so are we going with somebody, I I thought our new home buyer was somebody who was looking for a new home, not somebody who already lived in a home.
Well, they
So-
wouldn't be
So maybe I have a misinterpretation of,
Right, because they would have already had to have gotten approved for the home.
What about the renter who was just able to get approved for a mortgage? And so we want to encourage that person to buy a home in North College Hill, right?
Then if they got approved for the mortgage and they got approved for,
But
Then
they're
they're
they're not a new resident, but they are a new home buyer.
right, exactly. Yeah, because that's first-time home buyer in NCH.
but maybe they just have a pre-approved loan and they haven't really found the house yet, and they're still looking.
But that would still be within the last year of buying the house specifically.
And that involves
I think
advertising
there should be a
also.
grant or something that goes out where people, when they're looking for money for their homes, and that grant or whatever pops up, and they can apply for it.
On the realtor's website, maybe?
Right, and then we
Some of
just
you
wouldn't
guys
give
as
it to them
realtors?
until after they got approved, but either way,
Their home, so, you
So-
know,
either way, we kind of have to put
grant
like a limit on it.
go to college.
What you can do is,
Houses for sale in North College Hill.
there's a list, it's the MLA,
MLS?
yeah, MLS list for realtors, and then it's every property in North College Hill, you attach it to that.
Mm-hmm.
And so then the realtors
The
will love
realtors
that.
will say, hey,
Right,
You get this property, this city is giving you a grant.
$2,500.
Mm-hmm.
So when we're giving it, and maybe somebody else with the same economic ratio or whatever,
Mhm.
same design or close, even down in College Hill,
Mm-hmm.
they're gonna give me $2,500.
so then basically, we're talking like 6 months, like, we would be giving this grant to the people, like, either before they buy the house, obviously, or like within 6 months, or within maybe like 3 months after.
I think
I
if
was
we're
always
gonna
thought it was a
reduce the
down payment
time,
assistance.
a year is definitely fair.
Mm-hmm.
Or
You're definitely a new homeowner,
If it's down payment assistance.
That's
then-
what I thought it
then
was.
It would be at their closing.
Yes.
Okay, so
I
are we
thought it
deciding that
wasn't.
it's down payment assistance?
That's what I thought
Because
it
that's a
was
whole
all
nother decision,
along.
but if we do that, then that decides this
That's
question.
for me, I think the down, yeah, because you know how much they have to bring now?
Oh,
They have
mhm.
to bring 10 and up.
Mm-hmm,
Okay.
correct.
You say I can buy a house in North College Hill, and I find a house, and I'm like, oh, I really like that house, and you're gonna give me 2,500 towards my,
Down payment,
yeah.
yeah, that's
All
what
right.
I thought it was for
Yeah.
all along.
I haven't bought a house in so long, I don't know how much you gotta bring to the table.
Is everybody okay with down payment assistance? Does anybody have an objection? I'm good with down payment assistance, all right. So then we don't really have to decide like a time limit for that, obviously, because that would be right when they're buying their house. And then, all right, so then back to, really quick, the point system. So the must-haves we already got. Must-haves are that they're, for the people who are buying, they're buying a house, we're helping them with the down payment, they've already gotten approved, and we're just helping them with the down payment. And then the people who already live there, they already have plans that they're presenting to the decision-making people, and they already have a company lined up for the improvement, and all they're asking for is some help to pay whatever they're paying for, whatever the improvement is. So let's say 50 people apply, 20 people fit those must-haves. Now we're on to the point system. What do you guys hope to see in this point system? We've talked about, maybe getting a little, like, 2 points for you were previously a renter, now you're buying in North College Hill.
Is that gonna fit into this? Is it gonna, because I almost think that scenario still goes with the first-time home buyer.
Right, so this is just, all these people have already applied, now we're deciding who we're gonna give the grants to. Now, if we have 20 people, we only have,
So, but my point is, are we dividing those, we have 50 people that applied.
Mhm.
Are the 50 people just across the board 50, or is it 50 new homeowners and 50 people that have already lived here?
okay, so let's talk about first-time home buyers first.
So most of the time, those type of assistance go to people who need assistance.
So I think, to answer your question and to captivate where I think she's about to go, is if you put the parameters of what the grant will do, like you could get it if you fit this profile or that profile or that profile. You've already profiled. The application's thrown out if you don't fit that. So you got 50 applicants. Then you move from those applicants all fit, like either they're first-time home buyers for down payment assistance, retention, or whatever your list is. And then you use the point system where you bring in the poverty and all of the other
Right, that's
things.
right, so
So-
that's the, like, what do we want to consider? Do we just want to consider, like, are you below poverty line? Is it the only thing?
You use that, whatever the point system is, we make it up. That's where we consider that.
Right, but
The
that's what I'm
app-
saying is what is the point system that we
Oh,
can
I don't
make
think,
up?
you think we're gonna solve that tonight? I'm sorry, just in lieu of time.
No, you're fine, but we can start talking about it. We can start talking about it though, but that's what I'm
Okay,
saying.
that's
like,
fine. I mean, maybe, I can submit them to you via email.
What?
I can submit mine to you via email.
Yeah, that works. All right, so I think that's the hint to shut it down.
No, just, we got a couple more items on there, agenda.
Do we?
Old business, new business.
Oh, I don't have anything in those two, but if you guys do, it sounds like you guys do then.
I do.
Okay, so then we'll move on. So really quickly though, I just want to kind of wrap that up. So I'm gonna bug Bill every single day this week until he answers my email.
And what I will do is I'll start texting him and saying, hey, please respond to Marjorie's email.
Woohoo!
That way,
There we go. Yeah.
yes, yes.
And then we'll get the CRA stuff figured out, and we'll kind of start drafting something about this, and we'll figure out where we want to go with it. Okay. And I will also talk to him about the tree board thing, but that's separate. Okay. All right. Old business.
I have a question about the comprehensive plans. My main question is very basic. I'm not going to say the company's names, but we're going to be voting on two separate companies. But one company was about, just $20,000 more. But to me, my question regarding the voting is, are we literally going to select the company, and then the one company that said that they were negotiable, are we going to negotiate with them after?
So both companies have said.
But the question is, shouldn't we, I don't know, what I'm trying to say is, if we pick a certain company and they said they were negotiable, when will we negotiate with them? Will that be before the voting? Because I feel like maybe it should be before the voting to see what their final price will be versus maybe voting for them and then trying to negotiate. That's my question.
So both companies have said that that is just an estimate, that's not a final number, that based on what we want as a community, it'll go lower or higher, based on what we want as a community. And what they're saying is, it's not exactly negotiable, like, we'll sit there and say, $10, no 15, no 11, no what. It's more that they're going to kind of look at what the community wants, based on what the community wants, and they'll say, okay, here's our final number. But also, on a separate point, because this has moved from committee into main council, I could be wrong, but I think this is more appropriate to talk about in the next whole council meeting.
Oh, we can talk about it
We
here.
can talk about it here.
Yeah, we were just talking about the comprehensive plan with the recreation director.
Well, I think
with
that's
the
just in
first
general,
subject.
just because it's coming.
So, but what I'm trying to say is, it seems to me that it would be good to have, I know it's negotiable, but I would always feel more comfortable having the prices before we vote on something, but that's just me.
Yeah, I
That's
don't think
how
that's
I
going to be a
feel.
possibility, just because I don't think that like they can't come in and know what our citizens want or know what council wants or knows what the business owners want unless they've done the work to find that out. And if we're asking them to do the work to find that out, I mean, they're not going to go do that work for free and then come back and, you know. So
But what
that's
I'm
I
saying
think.
is, with council being fiduciary, it seems like we will have to decide on that final price for that plan, whichever plan it is. Council is going to have to decide on that because of the money aspect. That's all I'm saying is that. We will have to vote on that price. We may pick a company, but technically, because we're fiduciary, we will need to vote on the final price that either company is borrowing. That's what I'm saying. Pretty much.
I definitely understand what you're saying, and I think a point well taken to Marjorie is she's saying that because to Ms. Blythe's point, you don't want to contract, hey, we choose you. That gives them a kind of a free forum to say, well, this is the price we're sticking to, but on the strength that they have both agreed to negotiate, and both of them did commit to that. And it was, I felt like, and I won't name, but I felt like the tune of the negotiation was both and. One, it'll be what you choose as a community, and it'll kind of be a package tailored to your what you choose to have developed in our city. And then also just plain old negotiable, like, you know, we're willing to work with you is the attitude. It was an unspoken attitude. So I don't think that with the two that are currently out there, we have to be so concerned. And honestly, at the end of the day, this isn't a flat out contract. If they don't deliver within a healthy price range of what we are expecting to receive,
That's what I'm saying.
we can still move on.
Yeah,
Like,
that's what
it's
I'm
not
saying.
too late.
Yeah.
So I don't
That's what I'm trying
so-
to say is we get the final say so.
So I'm saying to Marjorie's point, I don't necessarily think that we have to renegotiate with them a different price than they are already quoted us in order to push this forward, because we've already kind of built in leverage for negotiation based on our community and city needs.
Right.
So is that,
They've both already also given suggestions in how they can lower that price, because in our like request, in the original request, it, you know, there were a couple things where they were like, oh, well, hey, if you make it this instead of that, or if you make it, you know, I don't know. I don't remember their exact words, so I don't want to try to like misquote them. But there were a couple suggestions that they had to lower the price already. So, but sort of to your point, I mean, I think this is a pretty big deal, and the amount of money that we could get from, I mean, if we're talking from a money standpoint, which I know a lot of people are concerned about that, obviously, I don't blame them. But if we're thinking about this from an economic standpoint for the community, the amount of like grants and funding and businesses and homeowners that we can bring in from this comprehensive plan, I think is honestly worth the huge chunk of change that we're about to spend on this comprehensive plan. Because in the long run, I mean, our community is going to be so much better off economically when we actually have a plan, when we actually have it written out.
I don't think the value is at question. I think just
Oh, no, I meant like to a separate point, just
Okay.
in general, yeah. But related to the money aspect of it. As I know that a lot of people are, I mean, a lot of, you know, Facebook people are very concerned about the spending of the city. And so it's more towards the general population, my point was, but.
I see those such Facebook people also, and I find myself having to restrain myself from saying something like, we can either, you know, progress as a city and make our city better, or we would be called Springfield Township.
Yes, or
But I
Cincinnati.
think
Would
in
it be- we
defense
would
of the
be
people.
Actually
Yes.
looked at, we would actually be Springfield Township, and I don't want to
Yes.
be Springfield Township. I'm just saying, we can't be stagnant
No.
We can't do nothing.
Like, if we wanna stay our
But
own
I'm
city,
just,
then we
all I'm
better
saying is
start.
that we,
acting like it.
we choose the price, you know, which, in the
Right.
final say so.
I think we've left room for that.
I think so
Yeah,
too.
that's all I'm saying.
And in defense of the
And
people,
our last plan, I think, is
Are you
from,
defending the
is from
naysayers?
2008, so the last plan, I guess
Look at
we've
you.
had, what, 14 years to use that plan, so
Nothing.
this new plan might be good for a decade, so.
Well, and that they were saying
understand.
too, to that point, because I agree with you, because looking at the last ones, I mean, like, they're nothing like how our
2008.
city turned out.
Right.
And they both made a big point of saying, like, that's not how comprehensive plans work anymore. It's not just a dream list. It's
Right.
an action plan that has tangible steps that are taken by the company
Right.
in I cannot think of this word tonight, but I've tried to think of like 4 times, in works with the community and with the businesses and with the government. So
Right.
that's why I think, I don't think that we'll just get another beautiful comprehensive plan that costs thousands of dollars to collect dust.
And I think that there are going to be definable parameters and dates that we have to meet them, and we'll meet
Yes,
them,
I
and
saw
we'll
that.
make our community better. I think it's going to be different from the other comprehensive plans.
Because
and-
we're gonna make it different.
Right, and
So-
I just,
Right.
we just want to grow, and we want the community, we want to be able to pay for ourselves, and, I get frustrated with, people who say, because, I get it, I don't like taxes either. I think it's ridiculous, and I think that the middle class suffers the most. However, if I wanted to live in Springfield Township, I would move to Springfield Township.
Right. So really quickly, because I honestly didn't even know that we were allowed to talk about this in committee still, because it moved to, but I mean, since we are, does anybody have a preference? Because I'm going to be honest, I'll go with whatever the masses says, because I think it's more important to have a comprehensive plan than to fight about the nitty gritty of it.
I want to defend the naysayers, and then I'll address your question.
Okay, yes, just please defend the naysayers.
What I will say is that not everybody has a vision for how to fulfill what we're trying to go to, and you'll get that. That's our job, to help bring people on board to seeing a more macro of how it fits, not macro, micro of how it fits together. We're going to have that in the beginning until people start seeing tangible results. And then you'll get a little more people jumping on board, and then you'll still always have a particular group of people who just don't agree.
We'll never be happy.
And,
So-
oh,
And then to address what you said about a particular preference. I can give you my preference, but I want to make sure we're committed to, because our meetings are seen, right?
Yes,
I don't want to,
they're public.
I don't know if we want to do that.
I have a preference also. I don't know if it's appropriate for us to talk about what our
I
preference is,
think
but
it's
I have a
important to
preference.
talk about the preference, because I think when we're going into this as a council, I think it's more important that it passes than for us to, I don't know. I feel like it's more important that it passes. That's why I think that we should just talk about our preferences, because then we can go into it at kind of a unified front and just sort of like pass this thing and get it going. Does that make sense? That's kind of where I'm coming from. If you guys disagree, please do and let me know, but that's why I asked for preferences.
At this point, I'm with you. I want us to have one.
Yeah.
So even if everybody else votes, if it's 6-1 and everybody else votes for the opposite one that I vote for, I'm gonna get on board with the other one, because
Yeah,
we
I
need
mean,
to
I'm the
make
last
our-
voter, so I'll just
Yeah.
vote for whatever one will make it win.
Right, we
Well,
need
then I
to do
think we don't
something.
need to disclose who our preference. I think we should just come to the table with a mindset that we should have a preference.
right, I don't
Please.
think we should state that in this meeting.
And the other thing I wanted to say too, and this is just a little small pep talk. I know just because there have been so many difficulties in trying to get things through, that sometimes we look at the naysayers and we frown, because they are just the hard stops at why we can't get things accomplished. But honestly, anytime you are doing something great, you're going to have dissension, and it should actually be a pat on the back that you're moving in the right direction. So
Right.
when you see them out there, hey,
Hey, look, you
I
got
was
somebody
gonna,
talking.
I was gonna tell you, Erica, once we get started, once we've picked someone and we're starting our meetings, if you remember the naysayers, why don't you invite them to some of our planning meetings? I mean, they probably would not come, but,
I am
In-
absolutely not going to do that.
yeah, you know what I'm saying.
I'm
But-
sorry.
But the what I'm trying to say, the naysayers that are picking on you on Facebook,
Oh, nobody
whatever.
picks on me on
Right.
Facebook, but
What
they
I'm
just,
saying
they
is
just
whoever,
post.
whoever this
they just post
naysayer
stuff
is,
on
hey,
Facebook,
I heard
yeah.
you were, I heard you were, didn't believe in this. Would you like to join us? You know.
Here's what
The
I'm-
Well, I
nays-
told
the
him
na-
to.
the
I told
nays-
him what
the
council meetings
naysayer, if
are
there's a
and
naysayer,
where they
like,
are.
hey, we got that plan, we picked a plan, would you like to join us in one of our, and then they can just say no, and then that gives you your as evidence that they just like to be negative. You know what I mean? Some people just want to get online and just be negative about everything.
That is
blow
what,
I agree.
everything
but
down.
I have
And then
come
they
to
don't
that
want to
conclusion.
contribute.
That's
So,
exactly.
Yeah, but don't invite them to the table, though.
They wanna
So then they'll come to the
sit
meeting,
at
they,
home and
they'll
be
come to the meeting
angry and
naysaying.
just upset and unhappy. And I'm like, okay, as long as you stay at your home with your unhappiness, good
Right.
luck to you.
Yeah, but you're right, when you're trying to try something new or do something different, there's always naysayers, that's correct. I agree. You hit it,
Love it.
you hit it on the spot.
I'm a cheerleader.
Yeah.
Yay.
Any other old business?
I don't know if it's old or not, so.
In a while.
Yeah, go for it.
So maybe it is old. We have been talking a lot about the islands on Hamilton and the other spaces on Galbraith where there's supposed to be some kind of bushes or trees or flowers or whatever they're supposed to be there. I would really like to just see how much it would cost for a land. I'm not saying we commit to anything, but can we just get some estimates or request estimates about how much it would cost a landscape company to take care of those spaces for us? That way, the spaces are beautiful, because I think Mayor Nichols was the one who said, we want things to look nice, and if it doesn't look nice, then, I think that causes us problems. So can we just at least get estimates? What do we need to do that?
Did you see, Ms. Boss outside of her law office, what she did?
No.
Really looks nice. She cleaned up that island and put some mulch down.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't plant any flowers. If she did, they haven't bloomed. But just the fact that she cleaned it up.
That was one that was full of weeds,
Yeah.
Yeah.
a lot, tall
So
weeds.
it looks like, I know at one point, Mr. Marty told me that, Mr. Cole told me that whatever the weed killer that they had, it hadn't come in. So I noticed that I saw a lot of brown spots up and down Galbraith. But that's fine to kill it, but we still, those islands are, yeah.
That was one thing that I noticed about the island was the minimum that we could do, just for starters, is just what you just said. Kill all the weeds and then put mulch there, which looks very nice.
Just plain mulch.
Right,
Yes.
just plain mulch. But if you wanted to put something, it would just be like a perennial that doesn't need a lot of water or anything like that. But to keep it basic and clean, that's a good idea. But you can still get an estimate for that. But I was thinking,
Right.
just to get rid of the weeds and have mulch there, it looks good that way.
It does, it looks
Yes.
better
I
than
was-
it looks now.
I would say, honestly, no flowers. Only because that sometimes when this flower's here and that flower there, this one's well kept, this one isn't. Just mulch, the same color, and de-weed. That's
Yeah, but
done.
if we have the landscaping company, they take care of all of that.
But
Yeah.
They
I'm-
would take care of it.
Right. I'm gonna be honest. I purposefully dropped the ball on this because I know that there was talk in the Unified Progress Committee about Adopt an Island / Adopt a Peninsula. So I didn't want too many cooks in the kitchen. So I just kind of was like, our committee can kind of let them take it over because it seemed like you guys were on top of it.
I know, I think
But-
that we should just take it over and
Let's do it.
at least
Yeah.
get the estimates, and,
So
if the
I can do the
estimates are too
estimates.
much, then,
I
we'll
can call
back
around and
off
get
of it.
landscapers for estimates.
Yeah.
Is that a need here?
Well, I was gonna say we can we
And we
can
asked the
motion
city-
to Ron, yeah, we
the
can,
city
That's
manager
what I
to
had
get
asked Ron
estimates
in
for
a
that.
meeting, was how much to just get it cleaned up and mulched. It was
So are
like
we
a
talking
month
about
ago.
just
We were
the
talking about the
islands
little
on Hamilton,
islands.
or also the places on Hamilton and Galbraith?
Hamilton and Galbraith, and not just the islands, but also like these little flower pots that we have everywhere.
would we be better
Do
off?
we have them everywhere?
No,
No.
that was, we'll talk about that.
They need to be watered, because the ones out
What
there,
happened was the dirt that he put in there. The
Wasn't
dirt that they
quality.
used, if you look at
it wasn't planter dirt.
It wasn't
was dirt.
quality dirt.
Right.
It looks like a little bit, and if you- I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I
but see,
saw
that's
it.
why we should get up.
Would we be
I saw
better
it.
off,
Yeah.
would we be better off instead of looking at landscapers to look at the budget and see if we can afford to have Marty hire another person for public works?
No.
I
Let's-
mentioned that
let's
to
get a-
Ron
yeah,
about
let's
2 or
just get
3
a-
weeks ago.
Let's get the estimates from.
Another
Oh,
public works
one-time
person.
shabam is done.
Right.
So, but
However,
that's what I'm saying, so we get the one-time shabam, it's cleaned up, okay, now what happens next year when
No,
it's
no,
over?
no, no, we have a contract for a year.
On Hamilton Avenue,
mm-hmm,
because they're gonna be redoing it. So
Okay.
That's another good point.
you spend all the money on it.
That's why I
They
say
doing
just
something with the islands,
mulch
too?
and move on.
mm-hmm.
De-weed,
doing something with
mulch,
the
and move
islands,
on.
too?
I'm telling you, I did it
I
in
mean,
my
we
own
can, we
yard
can
when I
even
couldn't
do
keep it
that,
up.
that's fine. I
My
just-
kids got little and I could no
See,
longer
that's
keep
what I'm
my-
thinking
The
is the
simple
best
is the
option, for the
cheapest.
one-time cleanup for the end of the summer, but that's the thing, can
That
we?
carries us through winter too.
Okay, so let's motion at the next council meeting for them to look for an estimate for a landscaper for a one-time
And
service.
I'm using the word landscaper, but it may
For
not be a
one-time-
landscaper.
I mean.
Yeah,
we
for a
got-
one-time service person
That's
to,
what Demetrius Dallas has been doing lately.
Right.
I don't know his landscaping.
right, no, it looks pretty good, I've seen it on Facebook. But for a one-time landscaper to de-weed and mulch the common island and peninsula areas before the beginning of winter. And then we can start looking at, maybe we can talk, well, I can talk to Matt and say, hey, can we start talking about in budget, maybe loading something up for Marty to hire somebody specifically to take care of like the common area landscaping. As I know that Public Works during the summer is just drowned by people, by people's lawns. Which, I mean, I understand why they go to that first, because it's a
Hiring
revenue.
4 grass cutters for that. It's
So
in
then
the-
maybe we
it's in
need
the
to talk,
salary ordinance.
so then we need to talk to Ron and say, hey, why haven't we hired anybody for this? All right, so let's do
I
that.
asked them about things similar to this in our CIC meeting. Remember, Erica? About an extra person for weeding, for litter, for mulching. So I asked them if it was in the budget. So this is a little bit of overlap with the CIC meeting.
And, you know, I just, well, I don't want to keep beating the dead horse.
No, please do.
Just, you know, it's like
I didn't know that was my street. I'm
it's
sorry.
like a,
Wait, what?
That's my ADD.
Squirrel.
That's my street. Go ahead.
right. It's because our meeting has gone on and on and on.
Yeah, but it's kind of nice not having a budget
No,
afterwards.
it's
I don't
not.
think
I
have to
thought
rush.
I was getting time back. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. Go for it.
Well, I'm glad we were able to discuss the comprehensive plan. Thank you very much, ladies.
Wait, what was that?
She just appreciated the fact
Oh.
that we could
Yeah, that
discuss
we
the
could
comprehensive
talk to
plan.
it. 'Cause
Are you in new business?
Yes.
So yeah, we're right now in old business, but we can move on to new business if you'd like.
Well, it's not my meeting, I just
Go
wanted
for
to
it.
say something.
I mean, I don't think it's my meeting at this point either.
Sorry.
No, I don't care. I like it.
If
I'd much rather have a group discussion than one
committee
person.
member had, and I'll probably, might be backlash but I really feel really strongly about this, cause I've been looking at it for quite some time.
Yeah.
That we need to really consider changing our city's emblem. That-
Just this?
That burst.
Just this or
The-
this?
The burst, yes.
All right.
The logo,
like
is that the official logo?
Where did it ever come from?
Yeah, who made that originally? Zimmer?
But
it was supposed to be a shining beacon on a hill, maybe?
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure, but I just think we need something that looks a little bit more,
That would be, what do they call those people?
we can make it a contest.
Computer design.
Ooh.
At a
Okay, so you know
contest.
when you go most places,
Computer
digital
design.
sitting here,
Digital design.
engineer.
the sign over your head. I don't particularly like that, but I mean, maybe almost a year ago, we had some designs that I just think it needs to be something else that represents our city besides, what is that, a starburst? Is that what it is?
I like
Like
that.
you have, like you
Well,
have.
you know, most cities has like some, I am not gonna even call it slit, the center of it all with something in the middle, like a real emblem.
Well, and I love our motto of the center of it all, because it's very much true. We're literally the center of it all. We're 20 minutes from the west side, and
like the look.
so how about that? The one that Mary Jo's showing.
I don't particularly care. for
We
that.
need something that's more,
Sophisticated, maybe.
You're right about the contest thing. In the late 90s, UC wanted to redo the UC, the red thing. So they did have a contest. And when they redid it, like 99 or 2000, it was more modern looking and clear. And it's almost like if you had someone to do an NCH together as an emblem, that would be very modern looking. Something
need
with an
something clean.
NCH.
That's at 1941. Is that what it
Mm-hmm.
is?
And I see what you mean, a logo for us,
Yeah.
or even a different shining beacon symbol.
I just don't
Yeah.
think that represents where we want to go.
Mhm.
I agree. So here's what I'm thinking.
She's talking
So
about
could
computer
council host
Computer
a contest and say, kind of announce, so our committee can kind of get it together how we want it to look.
We
At the
reached
next-
out in the past a year or two, some colleges have certain
Mhm.
techies or something that does design.
Like somebody at
They
DAP.
did
It's
Design,
called
art,
Vistaprint.
DAAP. DAAP does that.
We
Copy.
reached out back then, but none of them it didn't really pop. So I think now's the time,
So do we,
we can even ask our comprehensive, plan people to kind of incorporate that.
oh, I like that idea, yeah.
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 I mean, it's a small thing, but it's just
I'm
one
sure.
thing. We're putting a lot of work into a
I'm
lot of
sure
areas.
they know logo
Because what I
design, logo
envision-
design.
I know I'm probably gonna get burned. Take that down and we paint the emblem or put the emblem there.
Oh, so that, I agree. I mean, what Mayor Nichols is referring to is called what modern day brand building.
Branding.
We need
Oh, I agree,
We need
yeah.
to brand, we need to rebrand ourselves.
No, I think
And
that's
so
great.
like right now, even at work, and we have some very like secret things going on to rebrand us. And that's what you were referring to, that you did.
Rebranding.
Everybody needs it. It's
Right.
right in tandem with the, community plan or the, comprehensive plan.
Right, I totally agree.
So I say, hey, let's do it.
I love it.
We would be remiss not to change that if we're
Right.
gonna go into a whole new comprehensive plan.
Right, I agree.
Yeah, I've been
Mm-hmm.
thinking about it for a while and I didn't, you don't wanna offend anybody, but. I
No,
think
it's great
Yeah,
for the
good
time frame
idea.
that it
Thank you.
existed. Now it's time
No,
to
I
move
Thank you
forward.
for the input. That's good. I never thought about that.
going-
It's not broke, it's just retired.
Yeah.
So, we'll
It's
take
just
that picture and
updated.
put it maybe back here.
Yeah.
We can even put it on the back wall or something, just it doesn't have to be eliminated, just moved on.
Yeah, I agree.
I have one new business too.
Yeah.
And we may have already discussed this, so please remember that I'm not that old of a council member, so some
Neither
things
am
I
I,
don't
you're
know
good.
if you guys have already previously addressed, but I'm wondering if we can do or implement something about the way that the storefronts look. Cause sometimes when I drive around, it's like it's as bad as looking at the rental properties. And then like the Hollywood video, and it's just,
So you were talking about
Looks
administration
bad.
is looking into some money for
But
it.
I just.
Oh,
happened
sorry.
One of my
That's true.
connections with the city of Cincinnati, actually, her husband is a friend of my husband's, and we ran into them, but I didn't know that she worked down there, so over the economic inclusion part, and I said, is that money, because she specifically said for, storefront designs, and I said, is that money just for city of Cincinnati, and she said no. So,
And so, I definitely, like, we need to see if those money's out there. I don't know if that looks like, just a fresh coat of paint even would be
Right.
nice on some of them.
I agree.
That just, I mean, that's a lot of, I don't know how much the city can kind of like ask them to do that. Like, I feel like we can ask them to do that, but that's up to them to spend their own money to fix it, right?
Well, not if it's a code violation. it's
Yes,
not.
that's what
So
I'm
can we
talking
just
about.
start enforcing code violations, please?
Unfortunately, when I drove
I
down
love
here
that.
today, there was an abandoned storefront that had 2-3-foot trees growing up from the storefront. I saw that today driving here, and I was like,
Who's in
Ew,
charge
that
of code
looks
violation
bad.
and looking at that?
Mr. Mosby,
yeah.
right?
But it's like, it's an empty storefront, but there's 2-3-foot trees growing.
I think I saw that.
You did. It's on the right-hand side.
Coming this way, it's on the right.
Coming from my house on Lois, and I just kind of just shook my head like,
I saw it today, too.
you did, you did, you did.
So I wonder if we can ask Ron to ask Bill for like a rundown of his tracked hours and what he's done in NCH for the past like 3 months.
Why? I'm just.
I mean, if he's in charge of giving code violations, so he should have a record of the. violations
I
that
see
he's
what you're
given out.
saying. I don't, do we start with, well, okay, so that is a whole nother thing.
Just
Do
a
you
report.
start with negligence?
Just ask for. Oh,
Oh,
sorry.
he
just ask for a
definitely is
report.
doing his job, because let me tell you, when he thought I put up a new fence, I had a little note on my door. So, so I'm just saying.
So
he
then,
did-
if he's doing his job, then there's no problem for us just asking.
But maybe
for,
we should just maybe do a brush up on what codes we would like for him to focus on. Instead of kind of like attaching it to negligence or like kind of causing him to like feel like has to be accountable for time. Maybe it's
Okay.
just, hey,
I
a
understand.
refresher, like, can we just focus on these codes over the next few months? Can you make sure that you're keeping an eye out for these things?
So,
But the question that I have is, what the mayor and I just said, it seems like the business that's there, I wouldn't say it's abandoned, but there's no business there, and these 2 small trees are growing out right in front of the business. I mean, literally connected to the business building.
Can we get the person who owns the building?
Right, or who should trim these trees or kill these trees? Because it's a business that's not owned, so that's kind of like the question, who would take
somebody
care
owns
of
the building.
these?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
The property owner.
Okay, the property owner, whoever owns
We
that,
just
okay.
gotta,
But it's empty right now, yeah.
Yeah.
No one's renting it out, yeah.
right.
Okay.
So we just maybe need to focus on, hey, these codes we want to really, like, this is the code that these following people are violating. Let's really go after, like, make them aware that they need to do something different.
So motion for administration to focus, to highlight, to.
I think we can say, motion for administration to put emphasis over this set amount of
Emphasize.
months on these particular codes that violate businesses and storefronts and their appearance or whatever. We need to figure out what the codes are
Got a lot of
that
work to do, in other words.
kind of highlight some of the infractions that are going on.
Yeah.
And then have Mr. Bill focus on putting the little notes on their doors.
Oh.
And-
Okay,
and
so motion, sorry, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you're, I was just gonna say for the
From a
next.
previous meeting, Mr. Mosby did mention that someone had recently purchased the abandoned Hollywood property, but I don't know,
Selling it.
I don't remember how many months ago that was.
Oh, yeah, that
Yeah,
wasn't
They're
a couple
selling it
months
again.
ago.
They're selling it again?
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Are they selling it again, or they want?
That is what I've heard through the grapevine, but I don't know.
I don't, well, unless something changed.
That's a good location, sad that it's
Yes.
abandoned.
I know they bought it for a nice price.
I bet they did.
Mm-hmm,
We sort of had a kind of not.
that's a good
talked about what are you
location.
gonna put in there?
Mm-hmm,
When I was told we didn't want this, that, and so was the opportunity available, you know, But of course, it wasn't gonna be that 3 whatever, I think, that they paid for it.
Right. A while ago,
It's a good location. It
Right.
really is, in the heart of the city.
right. A while ago, Ron and I talked about possibly inviting, or not possibly, we were talking about for one of the upcoming meetings, inviting the business owners to come and kind of talk to council and talk with us at this committee meeting about like, hey, what can we do as a city to help you? What can we do as council to help you? What are your plans? What can you do to help the city? What are you doing to help the city? But then we had, in my opinion, very important things come up on our kind of list to do as a committee. So I kind of put that on the back burner so we could focus on the Homeowners Assistance Fund and on the comprehensive plan and the Tree City Board. But now that those 3 things are kind of chugging along, is that something that you guys would want to do for maybe a couple months from now?
We can start by going to the business commerce meeting.
Right, but that's not all of the business owners, only some of them are part of that. Which I know that they're trying to get more people, but on a separate note as well, I'll go ahead and try to find the code stuff and figure out which code violations we want to put on that motion. If I find that, you know what, I want to talk about that with you guys, so I'm not going to motion at the next meeting. I'll go ahead and just find it, bring it to our next committee meeting, and then we can talk about which code specifically we want them to start really emphasizing.
Okay.
That's how I would personally like to run it.
Yeah, and I just want to say, I don't know what he's done or what he doesn't. I'm not attaching HR issues to this,
Oh, no.
but sometimes not better, but a good way to start is to just remind someone of the things that you want them to do so that they can focus on that, because maybe his priorities or what has been instructed to him or his priorities is different than what we think. And it's not necessarily negligence, but just a refocus.
No, I appreciate your perspective. It's, yeah, no, I like that a lot.
Yeah,
All right.
and that almost seems like it's maybe like not residential, but business code enforcement. It could be a totally different
Commercial.
area. Commercial, correct. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
All right, any other new business? All right, well, I just want to say, so I really appreciate how this meeting ran. I really appreciate all of you guys. I personally think that things run better when everything is kind of an open conversation, so I really appreciate everybody kind of jiving along with that. I don't know how you guys felt about that, but I feel like that was a really good, positive meeting. I feel like we had a lot of good.
Makes it more of a, when everybody's relaxed, makes it more of a brainstorming and things
Yeah.
start flowing.
I
Yeah.
like that. So I'm glad that this is kind of where this is moving and everybody's really excited. So, all right, well, thanks, guys. Oh, wait, sorry, really quickly. I've been kind of thinking recently maybe moving our committee so that budget's not right after, so that we can possibly have more time to discuss stuff like this. I mean, of course, it doesn't have to go 2 hours every night, but that's just a thought for the future. We don't have to talk about it now, but just to kind of plant that
So we
seed
not
in
moving
everybody's
it
head.
earlier?
Maybe not moving it earlier, maybe like to a different night, maybe.
I can only give you Monday for me. Sorry.
No, that's fine. No,
I get-
that's why I was just planting the seeds in people's heads. I'm not saying we have to do it. I'm just saying that is a dream of mine, that my meeting is not touched because of Matt Miller Novak.
Well, I'll tell you,
Ask him
it used to be the reverse, but finance always went long. So this committee said, we want to go first so that we're not always waiting the 2
Oh.
hours.
2-3 hours.
Yep,
Oh, I don't blame them.
yep,
Yeah, that would stink too. Grass is always greener on the other side.
yeah, it was.
Start
Wow.
at 6:30.
Yeah.
Sometimes at 9:00, they say,
We got to call it.
No, I don't blame them.
Yeah.
No, yeah, the grass is always
Makes
greener on
sense.
the other side too. I mean, I might, bite my tongue later when someone starts moving. But I was just wanting to plant that seed. Just, anyway. All right.
Okay.
That's all.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. See you later.
Thanks.
I want to let you know